Welcome to the Fit Femme Project Alignment Podcast. It is here that we cultivate and gather all who have been through it in fitness, relationships, careers, lifestyle changes, and unforgettable crucial life pivots trying to achieve their most sovereign selves. We're here to provide you with thought-provoking, detailed stories and information from truly fascinating men and women from all walks of life, professions, generations, and modern-day sagas who speak to their rawest, darkest moments that made them the strong, decisive, humble, helpful, healing people that they are today. We ask them to hold nothing back because life is a multi-dimensional pursuit to be stronger, healthier, and more aligned mentally, emotionally, and physically. Let's go. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the FFP Alignment Podcast. It is Monday, best day of the week, right, Lindsay?
Yes, the best day of the week.
I've grown to like them, but how are you today? Obviously, I have Coach Lindsay with me on as usual, my little co-host.
Right? Oh,
right?
yeah. We love the pod. We're potters.
Potters? Yeah, mm-hmm. I'll take it. I'm a little potter. How are you today?
I'm doing really, really well. How are you? How is Walter? He left.
Oh, he did just jump down. He's like, I can't be on camera right now. It's just not my time. I don't look good today. No, I'm good. I'm just so happy that I'm not sick like I was last week.
I can't believe you didn't tell me you were sick.
I'm so sorry.
That seems so bizarre to me. I don't know why. It'd be like one of my kids being like, whew, glad that fever's gone, and me being like, what?
I thought about it, but also, like, I thought you were going to be on Tuesday's meeting, so I'm like, she'll find out then, but you weren't. And I was like, oh, well. And I also feel I do have a hard time admitting things that are wrong with me.
You don't want to tell your weaknesses, even when they are viral.
No, I'll even tell Mark, I'm like, yeah, I feel like I'll tell him I have a symptom. He's like bringing out the entire medicine cabinet. You take this, you got to do this, drink your water, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, calm down. I'm not sick. I'm not getting sick. I just have a symptom.
I've just been sneezing 54 times today.
Yeah, sneezing, and I was like, I'm coughing a little bit. It started with a headache. That was the weird part. It this headache started like Monday, like on the side of my head. I'm like, I'm not hungover. That's the reasons for my headaches. Not dehydrated, nothing. And I was like, that's really weird. But it had started to snow, so I was like, maybe it's that weird air pressure. So it was weird that it started out like that.
The same thing. Like, I will live into denial until I'm being rolled out on a gurney. Like, I'm fine. I just didn't sleep well, probably.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I've gotten better with it, though, because, like, I said this on a past episode, or I think it was a mini-set, I don't remember, where I was when I was younger, even more in denial when I was sick because I could not afford to be sick. Like, I had to work. I was even doing massages for people when I had, like, walking pneumonia. I should not have been touching. Like, white as a ghost. Yeah, and like my tonsils are this big and I can barely, like, I'm sweating at the same time.
And you're like, oh, allergies.
Yeah. And then I'm just a little tired, I've been working. I'm a lot better.
Too. And now I know, I'm talking about my husband, Matt Black, especially, but now, like, when I start to get sick, he's like, mm-hmm. Yep. And he's like, not happy.
Oh, no.
Like, admit it. You feel bad. I'm like, I don't.
He's like, yes, this is where I'll get her. I'll get her here. Yeah. Admit that you feel sick.
I heard you in the bathroom coughing into a pillow.
Have you done that?
Maybe.
That's hilarious. Anyway, but yeah, glad I'm not sick anymore. But
me too.
Let's dive into today's topic. We are going to be diving into some debunking nutrition myths. And next week will be, what was it, exercise? We're going to be doing
Yeah.
that. And, or no, the week after next, we'll be doing that, I believe. We're starting to get things more organized over here. Look at us go.
Look at us.
I know, but we will be talking about exercise. But for now, it's just nutrition. And honestly, this is like a can of worms because we could talk about like all the diet fads, which we've gone over
Mm-hmm.
plenty of times. But I think
Yeah.
what we're going to, based off of what you told me, that you wanted to kind of go more into like, oh, we got to pause for 1 second. Somebody's
Okay.
knocking on my door.
I heard.
Okay, resume. Yeah, we found this big crack in a wall, and we're like, fix that. We're not going to pay it whenever we move out. So they finally
Yeah.
just came knocking after 2 days when they said that they'd be here.
Oh, well, yeah, it sounds about right.
So I'm like, come back in like an hour or so. They're like, it's fine. So yeah, anyhow, like I was saying, we're going to like talk more about like the mindset-y stuff, right? Around like what we believe nutrition is and how it relates to like weight loss and just getting healthier, things like that, right?
Yeah. And there just is, and it's one of those things that is worth talking about, even though it's not like an original topic, okay, about
Yeah.
nutrition. But I do think that it is always worth the conversation because it is so confusing due to the information overload, and the claims people make. And what's always surprising to me is people will make claims as facts, not even a I feel like, or my experience has been, or I've seen this practice put it, but like this food will kill you. This food burns belly fat overnight. Like you can just flat out say whatever, and it be online, of course, maybe in print, I don't know, but it just be purported as a fact. So I do think that that contributes to getting muddled up with what is going to work for you.
Yeah. And it's so, it still, we've talked about this where it still grabs you. It's like, this one thing does the trick. It's like,
Yes, that's the first thing we were going to talk about. The one thing, the
yes.
one Oprah aha moment, the light switch, the
Yeah.
magic wand, the magic pill, right? That's always either the food that if you do eat it is going to manifest all of your desires, your body desires, or the food or food group that if you don't eat it will change your life overnight. And they're myths, right? Like through practicality, science, experience, neither one of those things, those magic foods that you put in or take out, exist unless, obviously if it's a food you are allergic to, you should not eat that.
Yeah. And it will
That's
change
going to
overnight.
not be, it will change overnight. If you are allergic to milk and you stop drinking milk, you're going to feel so much better the next day, obviously. But as far as when we're talking about getting fit, fat loss, there is not a food that you're going to find out there that is going to superpower you all the way to your goals.
Yeah. No. That kind of reminds me of when like the whole ketone fad like came out. They're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, to stay in ketosis, you have to eat these foods and that will burn all your fat away. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
revolutionary. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Well, and but they do come out, and it you want to have like this little like shred of hope because
Yeah.
not really diet wise, but there are things that come out that are revolutionary that change the world for the better. Antibiotics. You know what I'm saying? Like there are things that are invented that someone comes up with, a problem is solved, and it's revolutionary. So when something comes out and it's drink these ketones or um, use this artificial sweetener instead of real sugar in everything. This is going to solve obesity. This is going to solve your problems you have with not being able to get to the level of fitness that you desire. But so far, no good, right?
Yeah.
We've gotten rid of sugar by using artificial sugars. We have made plenty and plenty of no fat foods. We have replaced meals with shakes and bars and powdered food that have extra vitamins in them. And guess what? We keep getting unhealthier. The more things we invent, the more ways that we come up with these solutions, the more unhealthy we just continue, the unhealthiness of our population continues to rise,
Mm-hmm.
not go down with all of the information and all of the superfoods and all of the pills and the shots and everything else.
Yeah, and that reminds me too of like a more specific example was when gluten free became really popular.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, there is a medical condition that you should be gluten free. But aside from
Yes.
that, I remember people were, it was the rave, right? But then people started to realize,
Yes.
like, besides like potatoes and actual like whole foods that were gluten free, the
Yes.
gluten free options like a cookie or this bread or something, those are
Mm-hmm.
so highly processed that,
Well,
like,
they're just a different. They have a different base. So instead of being
yeah,
carb based, they're fat based. The
yeah, that
calories are
too.
often higher on gluten free things because they're made from like almond flour or some kind of nut base, which is going to, yes, not have as many carbs, but you're robbing Peter to pay Paul. We're just adding
Exactly.
a ton of fat, which makes them equal or more calorie dense.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I think like we should really, that's like the overarching thing where it's like, okay, this might be healthier, but what is it you're trying to achieve? Because it might actually give you opposite results.
Yes. Yeah. Or it may just, be another waste of money, another letdown, another discouragement. And those add up when you've tried 100 different things and you feel like a failure or you feel like I'm broken. I do think that that is some collateral damage that these different claims and fad dots, whatever you want to call it. I think that there is, some punitive damages happening here other than just like, oh, I didn't lose weight on this. It's another like little strike against your self confidence sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Like, okay, here's the thing. You try the thing, and then it's like, surprised that did not work for me. I'm broken, or yeah, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And that those things add up when it's been 10 years and you've been trying to lose the same 10 pounds, plus you've gained five more and you just feel frustrated, taking advantage of, at some point it's you've got like a friend of yours that sold you this cleanse and 90-day bit, and that as I've seen that have get some bad vibes going,
Yep.
right? And it's accumulation of perceived failures that I think is honestly maybe even the bigger danger of the little fad diets people try.
That's such a good point because I see a lot of those Facebook groups, the local ones,
Mm-hmm.
where people are asking for advice and they're just like, they're turning to these alternative methods like Ozempic and or
Yeah.
the gastric sleeve, because I've quote unquote tried everything. Nothing
Mm-hmm.
works for me. So don't tell me
Mm-hmm.
just to do a calorie deficit and exercise. I don't want to. They don't want to hear that.
I know, and I get
Ugh.
it. Like, I mean, I've been in
Yeah.
a place where I'm like, it's you can tell me calorie deficit all day long, but I can't live my life like that. And it goes into these stories we tell ourselves about what we can and cannot do given our what we perceive as special circumstances or special needs and everything. And that's a mind thing. That's not an information
That's so
problem. We
true.
don't have an information problem.
No, no, because this little like subject is reminding me of like how I used to think, like back in high
Mm-hmm.
school or in my early 20s, that like I would question myself. I was like, is there something wrong with me though? Like, there's no reason why I should have this extra body fat, from what I had at the time, the information that I knew about how things are. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
active. I'm on my feet. I'm not, and in my early 20s, I barely drank. Like, you know, and so I
Yep.
remember thinking those things. I was like, maybe something is wrong with me. I have a medical condition where it's like my body holds on to the fat. Like that I must be the exception. Like I have to be. I just remember
Yep.
thinking those things and it's like,
I remember
It's so
thinking that
sad.
about my belly fat. Like that's
Yes.
just it's I don't know if it's from having kids or it's just but like no matter what I did, or that's what I told myself, no matter what I do, this region does not change. And I mean it's not even like I wondered that. I believed that.
Yeah. I think that's like
I did.
90% of women.
Yeah. Probably true.
Oh, I hope you're listening, all 90% of you.
I know, I do too, because even if, like I hope that no one's on here being like, oh, I'm going to get the secret, because the secret is there's not a secret unless you count being able to not be in some huge kind of panic rush to punish your body into the shape that you want it to be. And you get to chill, bro. You get to start eating really well. You get to eat the things you like, but start paying attention to managing them, maybe different frequency, probably different quantity, and just open your eyes to everything you're intaking, how you're outputting your energy, and start to see actual change. That if you can get down with that, then buddy, have we got a secret for you.
That's a secret. That's funny. And that kind of, leads into our next little point about, and it's still around where eating, so little calories is the thing. I mean, it would work for a minute. Like, yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
definitely would lose weight at 1,000 calories a day. But like, again, it's like asking yourself, what is it that you truly want to achieve? You said this in a meeting so long ago, and I'll never forget it. And I still say it. Where it's like, was it a meeting? I'm pretty sure it was a meeting that we had. Where you're like, I don't want to rent this body. I want this body
Mm-hmm.
forever. Like, the body you
Yeah.
get after the 1,200 calorie diet for, 8 weeks.
Yeah.
That's great, but don't you want that forever?
Yes. And I've been in a body that got 1,200 calories a day, and that is called contest prep.
Yes, professionals
And
only.
I do not own that, and I don't own that body. That's a renter
Mm-mm.
for the stage. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Such a good
returned that
point.
thing as soon as I was done. Like, there you go.
Return.
That is an extreme. But yeah, would what I got so fatigued of and so frustrated and so demoralized by was having to or trying to get ready and get myself motivated by planning a beach vacation or spring break trip or family pictures or something like that, and being like, okay, I've got this motivation now, stop eating until you get to this goal, right? And get to this goal, and that's not how you get a body that you're going to feel really cool in, like really confident in, because all that body is like smaller and hungrier of the same body.
Yeah, you're going
I
to be in a
just
bad mood.
not you're going to go bananas because you have this endpoint goal, right? I get to here and then I'm done, which you have to be on an extreme, very low calorie or very restricted diet. There has to be an endpoint, right? You can't starve forever. Your body will not let you do that. It is the equivalent of trying to hold your breath until you die. Your body's not going to allow it. It's going to keep you alive. Thank you, body. But it also just kind of defeats the purpose of what can I do to just plan a vacation and be like, oh, cool, I need a new bathing suit. Not, I need a whole nother body, a body that is ready to go, do, be, see, be seen all of the time. That's a peaceful place. That's a place of self love and not frantic or just bad self esteem. And so many women, I'm not going to say the majority because I haven't met the majority of women in the world, but a lot of women have never been there as an adult.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the majority is I feel like you can confidently say that.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. And, that kind of goes into the whole, body confidence. Oh my gosh. I saw something on TikTok the other day. somebody was watching, like I was watching a video of someone watching a video. You know what I mean? Like they're doing like a reaction video
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
this influencer who was morbidly obese, and she was talking about going to a fat con.
Like Comic Con?
Yeah, it's like a festival conference thing for just fat people.
Like support, right? Like
Yeah.
we like, yeah.
Uh-huh. I was like, I have got to tell Lindsey this, and this probably doesn't even like go to our, like, what we're even talking about, but I have to tell you before I forgot, because it was like, it's literally a whole conference designated to, you know, body positivity, body confidence, but it's all morbidly obese people who are attending this conference to talk about policy changes, like stuff like that. Isn't that
Oh,
wild?
wow. It is. And there's, it's like, it's crazy because in one side you can be like, it just like Comic Con, like people that like to dress up like, isn't that like comic book characters? Am I speaking out of
Yeah.
turn?
Yeah, like Iron Man or
Like
whatever.
we like these things. Most people don't. Let's go to a group and like just really rip and roar. Let's let her loose, right? Like we can't fake sword fight on the street without people staring, but we can at this place. We can't go out dressed like a furry, but we can at the furry convention. Like I get that, wanting to be around. I love fitness conventions. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
Yeah. There's something for everybody.
but there is that is not body positivity when you're in a group that makes you feel better about doing something that is so detrimental to your health. But also, my viewpoint is if it's all adults, party on, Wayne.
It was
Do
adults,
you?
I think. I don't know, it was just like
Yeah,
one person talking about it. I hope so. It probably isn't. We're too nice to give them the benefit of the doubt. Like, but I just thought that was wild. Yeah, but it probably isn't.
There's lots of wild things. There's lots and lots of wild things. But what I also think for most people is your gut's going to tell you if that is sitting right or it ain't. And you just go ahead and trust that.
Yeah. Get more in touch with yourself, guys. That's all we really can say, because I guess you could be in such a state of just like your brain is so powerful, right? And that applies to even what we're talking about, that like, no, I believe something's wrong with me. Well, actually, I mean, if you've done the proper, doctor checkup stuff and everything's fine, then really there's probably nothing wrong with you. But if your brain, you tell yourself something, you'll believe it, and you'll look for those answers. You'll look for that validation, and maybe take a
that's
step
a different
back.
podcast about who you surround yourself with.
Oh, the red podcast.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whole different podcast, but that your circle matters. Zan, if we could get Zan on here, I don't know if she would, but she would be a great guest for being brave enough to change your surroundings, get to a different spot if you feel like you're in a rut and you're stuck.
Yeah. We should have her on. She's never been on before. But
Let's
anyway.
bully her.
Okay. But yeah, so obviously back kind of on track. I like to derail the conversation whenever possible. Oh, you know what? And that also reminds me of when you're talking about getting ready for the event, getting ready for the thing, you have to lose the weight, do that 8-week crash diet or whatever.
Yes. I've done that
and
so many times, honestly. So many, I don't even know how many.
I actually haven't, but because I just knew I wouldn't stick to it. It's just not me. I'm like, I see these transformation photos of the person who did it last time and they won this $5,000 prize or something. And I'm just like, I know I wouldn't stick to it. I just knew myself that much that I wasn't going to even like waste my money.
Oh, well, good for you. Because I was like, I'll do anything.
But I still bought into like, I'll buy your little PDF file of like workouts just for ideas.
And meal plan? Yes.
Yeah, kind of.
Too.
Lauren Simpson?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got her. She had an app actually.
She
She
seems
has an
pretty
app.
solid.
She does. I did like her stuff, and obviously she has a billion
Yeah.
followers. But I did like her
Yeah.
app because her app had she didn't give it was a long time ago, but I think it kind of gave you a loose guideline of like how much you should be eating, and then it was kind of like an advanced MyFitnessPal where you added. She had
Oh.
her own recipes in there, and there were some really cool ones in there, and you just added it and you just followed the recipe. They're really easy. I'm like, this is actually pretty genius.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. I
So
like
I
that.
did that. So it wasn't because it wasn't like an 8-week thing. You just paid for it. But anyway,
Yeah, yeah,
all
yeah.
that
Just a
to say,
subscription.
all that to say is like, that really, we should do another episode on like confidence, like actual like confidence,
Mm-hmm.
because building your confidence can really help just kind of take away the things that you feel like you should be doing to feel confident. Because
Yeah.
it can be an unhealthy confidence, and then there can be a healthy confidence, right? Here's a good.
Yeah. There's confidence, and then there's you've convinced yourself of something. Those are different.
Yeah, I think we should do. This is really just a planning session episode.
Welcome to the Fits and Podcast planning session.
Yeah.
Oh, but I do know what I wanted to say
Yes.
about being on track. Or
Yes.
okay, also not on track. Eating as little as possible, and that being your goal to um the body you want, the fitness you want, fat loss, whatever, to be in a certain outfit. And I will see this in my clients. This is still happening for sure. Is I'll set their nutrition goals, whatever they are, whether it's tracking their food, whether it's 3 meals, 2 snacks, like whatever we're doing, right? And we'll set it and like, this is the range I want you to fall into. I want you to hit this number, and let's work on hitting whatever else. And they'll check in and be like, did great this week. I didn't even need my snacks. Or I wasn't even hungry. I could always skip. I was so, satisfied from the other meals. I could always skip my last meal. And their perception was, oh, that's a win because I ate less, and less is better. And so working with women to really reassure them that if that's not better, to eat as little as you possibly can to get by, to survive, to get through your day. I want you to get through your day. I want you to be happy in your day. I want you to live your day. I want you to look forward to the food you're eating. I want you to feel in control, and I want you to make progress towards your goal. And all that comes from staying on track. Just like not eating more or outside of what you had planned, or going off the rails and eating like a whole cake is not on plan. Not eating all of your food, not getting all of your nutrition in is also not on plan. And so that can sometimes be a little bit of a speed bump in the mindset change for women that, yeah, eating as little as you can, skipping meals is not a win. That's perpetuating old habits and a negative kind of relationship with food.
That's such a good point, because I still catch myself thinking that and being like, oh, well, it's not that bad. Like if I'm, just didn't have an appetite that day, and I got pretty close to, but I was a little under, like it wasn't not like 500, 600 calories under. I would never do that. But still, it's like, oh, under. Wait, this whole week, actually, it's a good point. This whole week, I'm like, well, it's great because you changed my calories to like 20s to 2000 something. And this whole week, I've been hitting my protein. Let's talk about me. I've been hitting my protein like a wild animal, which is great. But I've been like 200, 150 under. And I'm like, well, I guess that's a win, right?
It's not terrible. And I like people definitely to work in ranges like, give or take 100 or so calories under or over, as long as it's like fluctuating and it's not always 150 over. We might,
just like
kind of change
win. Slay.
Right. I know. And I will do the same thing, but mine will be more like due to laziness. I'll get home and I've, taken the kids 50 places and I've gotten all their food. And maybe I don't have mine like all the way ready. Like maybe I actually have to take the Tupperware out, put it together and weigh it and do all that. And I'm like, or I could just take a bath and go to bed. And I'm like, but also like, no, like this is in your plan. This is precision based as much as possible. So this food goes with these workouts and this amount of cardio. This is the information I need to give my coach for accuracy. So yeah, but that is hard. That's a thing. And it's like, you don't want to be on there like, no, you didn't hit your goal, but explain like that's the mindset you're used to. I get it. I still find that little worm in my brain sometimes, but we want your body to be like, oh, we're going to be fed very well. What if we went into homeostasis? What if we were just happy and gave her extended energy? What if she slept all night? All those things happen when you are eating enough and eating well.
Yeah. Great point. I'm not sick anymore, but my throat still is being wonky.
It lingers. Yeah.
It lingers
that stuff
for
doesn't,
sure.
It's just like there's no one food that's going to turn on and off that light switch. You don't just wake up completely healed from a cold or flu.
No.
Unfortunately.
So let's talk about this last point that you wanted to bring up about starvation mode.
Yeah, that's a touchy subject. I feel
really like it. Tell me
you
why.
do? Okay, I'll pretend like I'm just talking to you then. Well, because I've heard it 1,000 times, and I mean this is something that was, I think, perpetuated a lot by trainers, and giving them the benefit of a doubt. I think they say it because maybe they are kind of twisting a little bit that, if you're going to grow lean muscle mass, you have to eat enough. If you're going to get lean, right? Like, and that generally, when someone says they want to look, or a woman says, I want to look toned, I want to look tight, right? Those words, well, that means putting on muscle and losing body fat. You can't just have the same muscle you have and just like make that muscle like harder or bubblier. Does that make sense? You're either losing muscle, maintaining muscle, or growing muscle. Those are your three options with muscles. And so maybe they were kind of taking like, well, you're not going to gain any muscle and get to shape you. What if you don't eat enough? But what people have been told is like, I'm gaining weight because I'm not eating enough. And that is not true. Like that's not true. The common sense kind of analogy on that is, if that is a thing, then all these kids in like these countries that don't have enough food, they would all be morbidly obese. They don't get enough food day in, day out, baby. They're not eating enough. They don't get any protein. They get like, it's horrible. It's horrible. And they are stick skinny. Like it's heartbreaking to look at. Correct? Well, you are the same way. If you don't get enough food, you're not going to gain weight. It could also come from the biological fact that if you eat little for long enough, your body will downregulate. Your metabolism will slow down, right? Like if you eat lower calories for long enough, your body's going to meet you there. It'll slow down your NEAT, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. It'll literally make you blink less, okay? To slow down your metabolic rate, how many calories you burn just by existing. Your energy levels slow down. You just will stop taking extra steps. You'll stop fidgeting, all kinds of different things. And just your energy will feel really low and you'll be in conservation mode. But that's not because you're in starvation mode. And that takes a long time, right? And someone that's gaining weight continually has not been metabolically downregulated. They're generally overeating, but what I do think is happening is they famine or feast. Like they try to do that 1,200 calorie diet and they do it for 4 or 5 days, and then go bananas and consume 5 to 10,000 calories in a day or two. But then they're back on their 1,200 calories.
Yeah.
But the average of that is still a calorie surplus.
So why do you feel this is a touchy subject?
Because somebody's going to tell me, and it has happened several times, like, no, when I don't eat enough, I start gaining weight. That's just what happened to me. And I'm like, I'm not going to tell you about you, but that is just not how the body works. That's not what happens when you don't eat enough. When you eat less food than you, like if you're in a calorie deficit, you're eating less than you burn in a day, than you use in a day, your body weight goes down, not up.
Yeah.
That's just a fact. There's starvation mode. If I guess you could say that would be down regulation of your system after a extended months period of time in a calorie deficit, and your body's going to eventually like, okay, well, we're gonna slow things down so that we don't starve to death. And again, that takes a while, and you have to have a pretty low body fat for that.
Yeah, and it seems like it's an extreme. Like, there's no reason why you would ever be in that situation, right?
No, I mean,
it seems so extreme. Like, I'm trying to even understand what you're talking about.
So, because just like when you've seen when someone dies, let's say I get cut to 1,800 calories, I lose 10 pounds, but then nothing happens. Am I in starvation though? Or am I not in a calorie deficit anymore because I weigh less and my body has down-regulated metabolism a little bit?
Right.
To where I'm no longer in a calorie deficit. So I have to cut more if I want to lose more. That's how the body works. It works the same in the opposite direction. Let's say I've been dieting. I'm at 1,500 calories, but I'm done. Like, I'm done dieting. It is time to reverse diet or upregulate my system. Okay. So we start lowering, if there's cardio involved, you start lowering that down and you start slowly adding food in. It will also upregulate the other day. It's not damaged generally. I mean, I'm sure it happens sometimes, but generally your metabolism is not damaged. It's down-regulated, and you can upregulate it. It goes both ways. That's just how the body works. It's not a freak-out starvation mode. I've ruined my metabolism. How many times have you heard that? My metabolism's broken. I've ruined it. Like, no. Probably, maybe, but probably not.
Yeah. Okay. So that makes sense. So you've had people, lose the weight and they think, or just people think that like, okay, I've lost 10 pounds on 1,500 calories. Now I got to be here for the rest of my life.
Correct. And you don't, and you may give up a little bit of leanness, but I mean, you've seen it before. You just add calories back in. We just added calories to you and kind of switched up composition of where they come from. My educated guess is that we're not going to see your weight go up. But, we've been working in a deficit for a long time. I don't want to downregulate your metabolism. I don't want to. There's literally no point in that. We're going to have to, we just bring it back up. It ain't a big deal. But now we're going to come into more of a place of maintenance, and with kind of the shift that I've made, I do think we will see the scale go down while your energy stays really good and level.
Yeah, I was curious that you did that because I was also, I feel like anybody would be nervous after the holidays and then like the first 3 weeks of my January where just
blow and go, baby.
Yeah. Blow and go, like cocaine blow.
Oh, I don't know. I was just thinking about, I was more thinking about the jets on all the planes you were taking.
Oh, because when you say blow and go, like do a quick line and let's go.
Oh, wow. No, I don't even think, I've never even seen that stuff.
That's hilarious. I'm like, I guess that's a good analogy, blow and go.
I wonder if that's what it means, and I say it all the time. Like to my kids, we're blowing and going. Is that what it means? Like when we're like having to go too many places, I'm like, and people are like, how have y'all been doing? I'm like, just blowing and going. Is that what it means?
I don't know. That's the first thing I thought of.
Oh no.
That's hilarious. Do not stop. Where did you just grow up with that term?
Yes, I'm going to ask my mom.
Is your hometown like pretty known for drug addicts?
I don't think so. Not cocaine. It's not like that's kind of a rich people's drug.
Or, yeah, I guess so. Sorry about that.
Anyway, back on track.
But anyway, yeah. So the first 3 weeks of my January, I was like really on that cocaine, and
You better not be. I'm so mad at you.
no,
Telling your mom.
I was going. Oh no, I was going a lot, and yeah, not on track really at all. Like I mean, I can count on one hand how many workouts I did. But anyway, I definitely still had that like fear of like, well, did I actually though gain weight from the holidays and the January? Like, I may have, blah blah blah. It wasn't perfect. It could have been better. All the things just like reeling in my head. And so I was really curious now that all that travel is done, kind of what you were gonna do with that check-in. You're like, oh, let's eat some more. I'm like, okay.
Well, we've been in a mild calorie deficit
Yeah.
for a while now. And when you're in a place where it's just, if you've been there for a while and you're kind of teeter-tottering, you got to get off the teeter-totter one way or the other. There's no point in that. So we're going to spend some time in maintenance. And I had been feeling like I really wanted to up your protein anyway. So I was like, we're going to do it all at once. We're cannonballing. We're going to do it all at once. We're going to get real comfy there. We're going to build muscle. We're going to get you back in a routine from Christmas, New Year's party at your house, a cruise, sickness, a wedding. That was all shebang.
It was, right? Yeah.
So look, we are starting our New Year's is in February.
Okay.
And that's what it is. And that's a good thing about having a coach, because you're thinking like for yourself, you're like, oh, I haven't been working out. I haven't been eating that. I could probably eat less. And that's just not what's going to work best for you right now.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to like get lower or whatever. I just needed to get back into the routine. So I've definitely been capitalizing on that motivation. And it's gone.
Well, and for someone, like you that likes protein, I'm the same way. I never have a protein problem hitting my protein goal. I like protein. I don't have a problem with how some people they just don't like it. They don't like meat. They don't like the texture, the flavor, whatever. So you have to, of course, always make accommodations for that. But like you'll just eat more meat. Like that's cool. And so the way protein works in the body, it makes you more satiated, first of all. And it just doesn't act like carbs and fat as far as fat conversion. Like energy, or I should say, as far as storing energy on your body. So the dual benefit of taking you out of a calorie deficit, but also not using the calories in a way that will not store energy on your body.
Yeah, I get it. It's very mindful.
You're my adorable little lab rat. We're gonna hopefully you're gonna be super compliant, and we're gonna see how it goes.
I mean, so far I just love talking about myself. So far, I've done like really well this week. I've gotten.
I know. I've been looking.
You have? Oh,
yeah.
I with the whole like what has been going on the past like couple of weeks, it has given me great content for my TikTok. And there's been like some videos will kind of do well or whatever, and a lot of dudes like comment on, I'll do my check-in videos. Like I'll do like a TikTok video about my check-in that week and like what you told me and how my week was, all the same information. And like, these dudes, like people are like, please don't lose any more weight. You look great. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like,
thank you, I guess.
Like, wow.
Is that a compliment? I don't know.
I'll just keep posting because they get to see kind of a bare ass. Like, isn't that hilarious?
It is, and it's like one of those things like, you just forget, because I feel sometimes I forget that I'm not in the little bubble of my work people, and all of my clients are all women. So I will honestly not think about that sometimes and be so shooketh when there's like a, you get like a message. It's like a fireman. Like, don't send me a fire. Don't,
No.
like, you just don't. I'm just a 44-year-old mom posting like updates for my female clients and work. Don't fire me. Don't fire
The
emoji me,
little
bro.
fire emoji.
I would say I appreciate it, but I kind of don't.
Like, thanks for the, click or whatever, the engagement, right?
Side eye. What do you want from
No.
me? Yeah. But yeah, I do the same thing. I forget. I'm like, oh yeah, there's boys
Men.
here on the internet.
All right. So, what are some final thoughts you want to leave the people?
So, nutrition myths are anything that tells you that there is a catch all magical thing that you have been missing that is going to change everything overnight. That is a myth. The only secret that you're going to find in nutrition is that you can eat the things you want as long as you manage them in a way that also supports your health and fitness goals. How much you eat is going to be like kind of like your body composition, right? If you're eating too much, you will be what would be considered overweight and likely not feel happy in your body or feel like you want to lose weight. If you eat enough protein and you're in a calorie deficit, you will lose weight while maintaining your muscle mass and you're lifting weights. If you're lifting weights, you're going to maintain your muscle. If you eat protein and you eat enough fiber and you eat enough fruits and vegetables to hit your micronutrient needs, you're going to lose weight. You're going to keep your muscle and you're going to feel really good. If you also include foods that you like but would necessarily not be considered healthy, like a cupcake or macaroni and cheese, but you manage it in a way that still coincides with your numbers, your nutrition goals, you're going to, if you're hitting your protein and lifting weights, you're going to maintain that muscle. You're going to lose body fat. You're going to feel full and satiated, and you're going to be happy. And just kind of accepting that there isn't a secret and there's no like one thing. It's not going to be fasting. It's not going to be tart cherry juice. It's not going to be pomegranate seeds. I'm just trying to think of all the things that,
Yeah.
I've been asked. When you start concentrating on those things, you're really missing the forest for the trees.
Mm.
Get granular with it first. Be specific about your nutritional needs, your intake, your output. Be consistent there. And then you can start adding in little stuff if you want to.
Yeah. I think the big first step would be, like you said, is to accept. That's what, Alcoholics Anonymous is, just accept you have a problem.
Yes,
Right? And like
you're
we've
a
talked
Fred
about,
diet addict.
yeah. We talked about it before. It's like the minute you accept, in this example, is that the minute you accept that there's nothing wrong with you, your metabolism isn't broken, there's not going to be the one thing that you're missing, the one secret ingredient. Like, just accept that none of those things are going to be on the table or a part of the table. And then just take a
Mm-hmm.
step back, just be like, let's just start clean and fresh. And like, and it's part of my story. That's exactly where I began, where I was like, I'm just going to wipe the slate clean and I'm just going to do what I know is good for me. And that was, I just started with water and here I am today, and you
Yep.
don't have to do it all at once. And it is overwhelming, even if you know all the right information. It's overwhelming because,
It's overwhelming still to me some days because
yeah.
life is overwhelming and there will just be a whole lot. And I'm like, and I'm supposed to meal prep today. And I have to live for it. Like it will always be overwhelming, but that is because it's not going to be handed to you. Like the good stuff never is. The good stuff is going to feel overwhelming at times. The good stuff is going to take continued effort every single day. Like the stuff you really want, you got to pay daily rent.
Yeah. That's a really good point. And it's like that video I sent you about the brain. Remember we talked about that in the other
I
episode?
love that. That was so cool.
It makes me feel so much better that, like, one, your brain, it just adapts with you. And we all know that
Uh-huh.
when you start something new, it's harder, but then it gets easier. Like, that's just kind of a law of the world. And so it's the same thing applies here. It's like, the more you do hard things, the easier harder things are.
It is, yeah. But then, like from what I took from the video you said, she's talking about a part of your brain that grows when you do things that are hard for you that you don't want to do, that gets
Yeah.
stronger. Is that like it kind of sucks because like what if you get really good at this thing that was hard for you? Then you have to be like, oh no, now I have to find something different hard to do because this isn't hard anymore.
Yeah. I don't think that way. Like easy all the way. Which is just funny because
That's my go-to, but that
yeah,
doesn't work well for life,
no,
you know?
no.
I know,
Because you're
because when you
right.
do only things that are comfortable,
Yeah.
you just are miserable a lot, honestly, because you're so intolerant to any disturbance in that comfortability.
Yeah, that's true. Because, like you said, it's just so true with, it's not going to be handed to you. Like, as much as, the best person on the world or the most perfect person, they still would want things handed to them. Everybody wants that, regardless of who you are. But if you really want it, then, just gotta, I guess, accept it. Accept that it's going to be hard at first. And, I still remember how it was when I first started this whole path, this journey where it was overwhelming. And I was like, I don't want to count things ever. Why would I ever count things? I was on the phone with
Yeah,
my mom and
I know.
we were measuring this couch that I want to buy. She was like, okay, well, your rug is 8 by 10. So if we divide this, and she's the same way with me in math. I'm like, Mom, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know where you're going with this. I don't know.
You lost me.
Oh yeah, big time. You say one number, I'm like, I'm gone.
I'll see myself out.
Bye. But did I send you guys the one about the procrastination? It was,
Maybe.
I think it may have been the same one, but where it was on the same topic of like how your brain develops as you do harder things and your brain
Yeah.
grows. So it was Dr.
Oh,
Huberman.
yes. You did. You sent that. I
Yeah.
watched
Okay. So
it.
I'll bring it up real quick. So it's like, raise your hand if you're a procrastinator. We all procrastinate at something. So I've never ever heard this before where it's like if you're procrastinating on something, and he brought up, I laughed so hard because it was, I just said it to you, where he was like, the thing I despise most in this world that is the hardest thing for me aside from like physical pain or whatever is spreadsheets.
Oh, yes. And I was like, yes, they're
Yes.
awful.
Yes, awful. So he was the point of the video, or of his point. The point of his point was that if you're avoiding doing your spreadsheets, then do something harder than that. Or wait, no, it's
Do something
like,
you hate more than
yeah,
doing the spreadsheets for 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Because then when you go back to the spreadsheets, like, oh, this is actually it's not so bad.
Not a big deal. But I was
Not a
like,
big deal.
you know what? And I forgot I was trying to think about this. What am I going to have to do to myself that I hate more than spreadsheets? Like, how awful is it going to be?
I was
What do I
thinking
have
the
to
same
do?
thing. I'm like, what do I hate
Like,
more than the
eat
thing
poop?
it actually would motivate. It's like, well, okay, if I don't want to do this, the harder thing would be this. I don't want to do that, so let's just do this.
What is the harder thing?
I don't know. I think, well, yours is definitely Excel spreadsheets.
But what is hard? Yeah, because,
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be updating blind something through something.
I don't even know what she's
And
saying.
Thanks for listening to the
I still
FFP
don't even know. I was
Alignment
going to ask you about that.
Podcast.
Anyway,
Please support us by
but
downloading,
what do I
rating,
do
and
that's
recommending us to your friends and
I don't
family.
know. We'll
Be
figure
sure
it
to
out.
check us out on Instagram at the
We'll
Fit
get you
Femme
there.
Project.
We'll get us
That's
there.
FITFEMME Project.
All right. Well,
And for those
okay,
of
that's
you looking to
enough for
find
now.
their essential balance
I mean,
of
I'm sure
lifestyle
everybody
and
would
fitness,
not-
book a
would
free
love for us
consult
to
by
keep
going to
talking
thefitfemproject.com.
I'm sure.
That's
Spreadsheets, but, come back, next week, we'll probably
FITFEMME
talk
and
about
click Apply Now. Until next time, this is the Fit
Oh,
Femme
yeah.
Project Alignment
That's gonna be a great
Podcast.
episode.
That's a trigger point. Yeah.
Yeah, right in the heart. And then the week after that, we'll be debunking some exercise. I'm pretty sure that's how it's scheduled. We'll be talking about exercise myths as well, or debunking them as well, which would be really fun. So stay tuned. And until then, bye.
See you later, taters.